Hey everyone, welcome back to the recap of the Walking Dead universe. We are here live every week during the show season to discuss the latest episode. Today we are covering TWD Dead City Season 2, Episode 6. Bridge partners are hard to come by these days. I'm your host, Tamara, and I'm glad you've joined us for today's episode. A special thank you to everyone joining us live and taking time out of your evening to be here. Before we begin, please follow us on all of your favorite social media platforms. The links to find both me and Lisa are in the show notes. And if you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button. You won't want to miss out on a single episode. Joining me today is show co host Lisa. Welcome back, Lisa.
Hey, Tamara. Hey, everyone. My name is Lisa Orban. I am an author. I am also the founder of Indies United Publishing House, and I love all things pop culture.
All right, so before we get started, we would love your participation in this conversation. So if you are listening live on YouTube, hit us up in the comments section. If you are listening on a replay, you can still leave comments on YouTube or Spotify, or even call in and leave us a voicemail message on using the Speak Pipe link in the show notes. So if you are new to the podcast, we are laid back in our review style, right, Lisa?
Oh, absolutely, Tamara. This is a conversation, not a dissertation.
Right. No scene by scene breakdowns here. We jump around. And of course, huge spoiler alert for every show, everything in this world through yesterday's episode. So if you're good with that, this is the place for you. And we should jump right to it because we have things to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Okay. What'd you think?
Okay, I know you Negan is not your favorite person,
Uh huh.
but I am going to say, damn, I kind of really felt bad for him by the end of the episode. I felt for him, okay?
Okay. In what way? Tell me how and why
Okay,
exactly.
so it's like he's seeing all the destruction that he has wrought, okay,
Mm-hmm.
with the Croat and with Maggie and um Elizabeth, is that her name? Libby? Elizabeth? The girl.
Oh, oh, yeah. No, it's not her name, but.
No, it's not her name. Her. And and his wife and kid actually were alive and they showed back up and he's just like, I can't do this to him, and sends him out.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's like he's looking back on his life and going, God, huh, look at me. You know, look at me go. It was not a great run. No, I just kind of felt bad for him because it's kind of like the whole weight of all the bad that he has done and all that he has tried to rehabilitate himself with
Mm-hmm.
recently.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it was all kind of meshed in to just, it's all awful. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Because
Yeah.
whether he's trying to do good or bad, the outcome seems to be almost the same for him now.
Okay, I kind of see what you're saying and where you're coming from. Because it does seem like he's actually trying uh to be better. Although when he got control of that group, my first instinct was like, "Oh no, he cannot be in charge of a group." Because
Yeah,
I thought, he's gonna bounce back once he has like more absolute power. It's not gonna take long.
right. But instead, he just looked tired.
Yeah, he did look tired. And I think sending them back was a mistake. I
I,
think he needs them to keep himself human.
and I don't disagree with that. But I mean, that was the question he asked Maggie. Are they better off with me or without me? I might need them,
Right.
but for their sake, where are they better off? So in a way, sending him away was
Uh,
a selfless act.
I I guess it depends on who you ask. Because, okay, why were they brought there in the first place? Do they know they came to see Negan? Do they know? Does Annie know that Negan was there? You know what I'm saying? If that's the case, then she made that long journey with her kid thinking they would be reunited.
Right.
Was it like some kind how do you get someone to come with you without saying who you're going to see and where you're going?
Right.
So in
Of
that case, I
course.
think that's very mean. He should at least confront her, or not confront her, talk with her and say what his problem is. Don't be a coward. That's cowardly to me.
It was. I mean, and I'm not saying it wasn't. I think he just I do think he was really trying to do the right thing. I don't know that it was the right thing. I don't necessarily agree with what he did because I think he would have been better off with them there.
Mhm.
Um, but he was really struggling with that. That's him even asking Maggie, you know, should I do this? And he's like, I don't have any right to ask you. Uh,
And he was right on that, and she was right not to answer. That's his business. We're not friends.
right.
Like, they have a very interesting and complicated dynamic. They don't hate each other's guts anymore, but they're
Hmm.
definitely not friends, and
No,
I definitely am not gonna give you relationship advice. So,
right. And that's why he walked it immediately back.
yeah,
I have no right to ask you that.
exactly, and maybe he needed to talk to I guess he didn't have anyone else to talk to, but I don't know. I'm not even sure if she's actually gonna leave, to be honest. So we saw them standing there, but that doesn't mean that Annie is actually gonna do what she's told. We might see her again.
We might,
Because
but yeah.
especially if she thought she was coming to see her man, right? And then
Uh-huh.
she gonna be sent away. Oh, no, she's not just gonna leave. No way.
Yeah.
And if they do just make her disappear, if they, just get rid of her character, off she goes, I'm gonna be not really happy about it. I
Uh,
think there's been some commentary online about how this show has just treated her character, and they just chose to use, a black woman to do it. So I don't really like it. I don't like how it feels. It feels icky if they're really gonna have her come there and then just ship her off for real.
mhm.
She's had a hard go of it.
Oh, yeah, and I
Um,
absolutely agree with you.
yeah, so I think hopefully, you know, that was really bad for him to do that, assuming she knows she's there to see him. That's like a slap in the face. I came here. You're gonna send me away. That's BS. And I think she would react how anyone would feel in that moment. So I strongly think she's gonna show up again, unless they just really just don't care.
Yeah.
The writers don't care about that character at all.
I think I look at it kind of a little bit more like Negan's like the alcoholic who knows he can't stop drinking, so he sends his family away because they're safer without him.
Yeah, I get that, but you need support, and he doesn't know it yet.
Right. So that's why I said I think he was really trying to do the right thing by her.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily agree that it was,
Mhm.
but I truly do believe he thought he was doing it for her. That him having her and his son with him was selfish and would put them in danger, and he thinking that she was probably safer where she was
Mhm.
than with him. And that may not be a wrong assumption either, particularly considering there's gonna be a fight coming on here pretty soon and it's not gonna be pretty.
Right. And she probably was safer where she was, but
Hmm.
guess what? The ship has sailed. It's too late.
Yeah.
He had nothing to do with her coming back there. That wasn't under his. He had nothing to do with it. He couldn't control it, but she's here now.
Hmm.
So what are we going to do? But I have to be honest, this scene where Negan is like looking out and he sees them, I think we're supposed to feel all some kind of way about that. But instead, I was so distracted by the fact that they did not even have her face at all on screen. I
Yeah, and
wonder
I
why they
noticed
did
that
that. Like, why?
because it may not have been the actual actor.
Now, see, you know what? I did think that at first, but apparently everyone has confirmed that it is indeed her, which makes is another thing that makes me think we will see her in another episode because it
Okay.
is her. So it's been confirmed.
Okay.
Um, but I'm like, that's so rude. If I was that actress and that's how they played me, I'd be like, y'all did me dirty.
Yeah.
Show my face, so she better show up again.
Well, and I mean, and Negan did have another option, and that was to leave with them.
Yeah.
which he also chose not to do.
Well, it's not too late.
It's not.
But if he leaves, that will be the end of show, and I'll be okay with it.
And then, and he found the poor historian. And he's like, "You
Yeah.
home now?" He's like, "Yeah, I don't know how to get there." Yeah.
Like, I don't know where to go. I don't know how to get home. He hears this noise and he goes out of the cell. I'm like, take the bat, man. You don't know what that is.
Right.
Instead, he's just creeping around like he's half injured, old man. He's injured and he just
Hmm.
chooses to take a light with him instead of a weapon. I guess it worked out this time, yes, but that could have been a disaster.
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel bad for the little guy though, the historian guy. He's
Yeah.
like, well,
I'd like to go home. I just
I don't
don't
know how.
know how. I mean, the whole time we've ever seen him, he's very unworldly. He's he's a nerd,
Uh-huh.
you know.
Yeah.
If this was regular times, he probably would have lived in his basement and, done nerdy things.
Mhm. Probably.
But yeah, so he doesn't. I I don't think he has any real survival skills.
No, he's just a historian. He just
Yeah,
likes learning and keeping the stories, I guess.
yeah,
Which is kind of unfortunate for him, but it might work out now, you
yeah.
know, now that he's with Negan or whatever.
Yeah, Negan's like, "Welcome to the winning team."
Yeah.
And Negan, that him saying, I used to have this group and I had these rules and it was to keep us safe and
Mhm.
you know he's like, yeah, that wasn't good.
No.
And I did like the fact that he was admitting that he had been wrong,
Yeah.
and it was acknowledging that he is very much trying to be the better man now. He's flailing.
Mhm. So Karina's comments I love. She said Negan's a deadbeat.
Yeah, I saw that.
She wasn't fighting. She had to know she was going to see her husband. Yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't look mad. She was chilling. She was all casual. I agree. She knew why she was there. So she's gonna come on. She is a married woman who dragged her kid across the country. She's
Hmm.
not going anywhere. Hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping they don't kill them before the end of the season too.
Oh, that
That
would
would
suck.
be that would be quite unfortunate.
Yeah, I would not like that at all. I feel like that would be, I don't know, unless they're just looking for a way to make him bad again. What would be the purpose of that?
Hmm.
That could be a trigger for him to be a bad person again. Like,
Yeah.
my family's dead, F the world.
Hmm.
But hopefully not. I don't know. I kind of don't hate the redemption thing he's on and that he's trying to stay on the straight and narrow. So
Hmm.
I don't hate it because he still is able to show like his charisma and like his skill set with still acting this way.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I
And
mean,
then
he
we
even let the Croat go. He let him leave
right, which was
after,
probably not the best idea he's ever had, but
no, he let him go after he like yelled at him like a
mhm,
child in front of everybody. But
I made you everything you are,
he did though.
and he
That
did.
Yeah, that's facts, and he had to own up to it. He accepted that, but I don't know. I mean, he did like get a couple good swings at him with that bat.
Yeah, he did.
Like, dang, that sucks. I don't know. They're supposed to be quote unquote brothers, right?
Well, the Croat has looked up to him like an idol for
Uh-huh.
since basically he brought put Negan on the Dama's radar.
Yeah.
And his big hope had been that him and Negan could be equals, or and that because the last time he saw Negan, he was definitely the subordinate, and I think the Croat really wanted Negan to look at him honestly as an equal.
Mhm.
Not because he was holding a knife to his throat, but because he had respect for him, and I think that was his big thing. He wanted that from Negan.
Mhm.
And that I think it. But the Croat's also a person that really does not function well on his own.
Well, I mean, we're about to find out because he's not really just going to walk away. He's going to
No.
get involved with things. So,
Oh yeah, and I don't know if you saw the previews for next week, but he is definitely involved with things.
yeah. I don't know. I think he's like a little weird. He's a weird guy.
Yeah.
Um and you're right. He definitely wants to be brothers with him. He wants
Hmm.
to be equal with him, but the way like Negan basically yelled at him, he made it clear we are not equal.
Right.
We aren't, we weren't, and we're not going to be. Get out. And
Right.
I think if anything, that was a little reality check for him. I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe he's not going to be so team Negan anymore. I don't.
Right. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, because basically Negan rubbed it in his face. I am your maker, you know, and
Mhm.
shaper, and without me, you would have been nothing.
Yeah.
And I am discarding you now to go back to being nothing.
Yeah. I mean, this is the truth. I mean, come on. The Croat isn't, like I said, he's not very with it all the way. We talked about him earlier this season. He's so hot-headed.
Yeah.
He doesn't have good plans. He can't think things through. He can't think tactically. Instead, he just reacts, reacts, reacts.
Right.
And he'll never be in charge the way he thinks he wants to be
Right. Yeah.
acting
He's
like that. So,
very everything's on his gut feeling,
yeah.
and he wants that instant satisfaction. He doesn't really care about facts. He doesn't really care about the details of things. Those things are unimportant to him.
I mean, even in this situation where he was ready to quote unquote fight him, or I don't know if he thought Negan would just lay down and let him get him with the bat, but obviously, sorry, guy, you're like frail and old looking. And I think that if Negan really tried, he would beat you, right?
Hmm.
So, why did he not accept help from the people? He's like, hey, stay out of it. This between us. He is like,
Right.
again, he wants to be this big bad. He thinks he's better than what he is, badder and bigger, everything, all the things, and he's not. It's
He's not.
really embarrassing. Like, you should have took the help.
Right. But then again, if he had taken the help, that also would have made him, if he had won, still weaker in the eyes of the people, and he never would have been able to hold them together.
I don't know what's worse, being kicked out and you slink away and looking at the ground, or having a little help and still having to prove yourself a little bit.
I don't. I think it would have been if he had had to prove him. If he had needed their help and had to prove himself to them, they just would have run right over him and probably killed him to get rid of him.
I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. We'll never know. But I would have
Well,
at least tried.
because it's not like the Croat had made a lot of effort to make alliances among the people. He
No,
didn't.
not that they showed us anyway.
Yeah. Every time we saw him interacting with anyone, it was him throwing his weight around, being, vicious, mean, petty. So it's not like he
Yeah.
has a lot of goodwill to barter with these guys.
Well,
All he has is the illusion that he is bigger, badder, and stronger.
instead of being like second in command, he really comes off like the irritating assistant? So like the boss says, do this, do it, going around bossing people around instead of being instead of seeming like he's the one in control. Like, I'm second, you answer to me. It was more like a whiny assistant to me.
Yeah, he's a toady.
Yeah.
You know, I mean
Yeah.
that's he wasn't second in command. He was her toady.
Mhm. That's exactly it. And like we said last episode, Negan knew that and he kind of pushed him
Hmm.
and he made that happen. And when the crab saw the rat, I was like, oh no. And then I said, okay, well, he sees the rat, but then later, Negan has his feet up, and I'm like, okay, first off, just like a guy to half-ass do something, you clean the rat stuff off. Why didn't you wash the blood off?
I mean, it is a city full of blood, I suppose.
I know, but it was just the coincidence, and it just happened to be. I don't know. They weren't out fighting any walkers, so where
True.
else would the blood come from?
Right.
I don't get why you wouldn't just stick your shoe in a thing of water right quick. They probably have it all over the place.
Well, it was also the shape of the rat. I mean, the rat had a fairly distinctive squish mark
Yeah,
that matched Negan's boot.
yeah, true.
So I think even if there hadn't have been blood on his shoe, I think Negan, I think the Croat would have realized because again, the rat had kind of a crisscrossy, fairly distinctive chunk up marks.
So you think he would have had enough, I guess, sense to clock that without the blood being on the shoe?
Uh huh.
Hmm. I don't know.
Do you know how I know this?
How do you know?
Because I couldn't see the blood on the shoe,
Oh, okay.
but I could see the marks on the rat, and they matched the marks on the boot.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I'll take I guess it has to yeah, I guess it could be. Mhm. I don't know. That was weird.
Score one for the blind lady.
He's like, "You're supposed to be my friend and you played me. Boo-hoo." I'm like, "Okay."
And Negan, I mean, if the Croat really was the leader he thinks he is,
Mhm.
he would have instantly gone, dude, thanks, solid.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because he would have wanted to be in charge, and instead he was just panicking.
Mhm.
He was having a straight up anxiety attack in the hallway.
Yeah, he was. Another reason why he would never be in charge. Dude, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Hasn't he ever heard cry on your pillow, sir?
yeah,
Not in front of everybody. Ah, you in public. People can see you. What are
right.
you
Well,
doing?
I mean, he probably thought he was fairly safe because really the only person up there would have been Negan, and I'm not, I don't know what, and but yeah, he straight up had a panic attack. He could not. He needed the Dama,
Mhm.
and so yeah, he's like, oh shit, what am I gonna do now?
He
Yeah.
did he relied on like he really just I think thought that was going to be his setup forever.
Mm-hmm.
He really shocked himself when he took her out. I don't think he thought he would do something like that. Um, he was so
Mm-hmm.
jarred by the fact that he actually admitted I could have saved her, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever well, I mean, being that he was with Negan in the past, I'm sure he's killed people before,
Yeah.
like on purpose
Oh
without
yeah, and I mean, he killed people, in front of
yeah.
Negan this time around. It wasn't the people that bothered him. It was her, just
Ugh.
her.
Again, I it's like so I guess she's supposed honestly, I don't understand what was so alluring about her. She seemed like a creepy lady.
Yeah, but
Negan
it's not
says
like
to
he was.
Negan says to Maggie later, it's not Herschel's fault. She, is persuasive or whatever. But I just didn't see it. I didn't get the vibe from her that she had the ability to just talk people into like a siren, talk you into doing what I want. She's so abrasive
Mm-hmm.
and so ill. Like how I don't know. How'd that work? I would
Well,
love to know.
for a while. Yeah,
It did work until it didn't.
right. And that's how things often work in this world. They work and until they don't.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
and then we have Herschel.
Oh god. The biggest brat on the planet still.
I had some hope for him that after he saw Maggie almost die. Okay, he had his come to Jesus moment. Maybe he realizes now that perhaps he was a little hasty in his actions. And
Mhm.
then he goes and gets the Walker blood.
Yeah, yeah, he sure did, and he's gonna put it in the water.
Yeah,
Like, wow, he is a little deviant.
yeah.
And then the way he shoved his mother, oh my god. Whoa, like what are we doing? Are- He's
And she's trying
awful.
to talk to him, and he's like, "It's not like you care. It's not
Yeah.
like you were ever there." And I I would like to disagree with him, but I really can't. And I from that from him saying that it's not that he was exactly wrong. She really wasn't there for a long time, but she is trying now.
Mhm.
But yeah, he was just gonna take everyone out.
So the thing about resenting your parents is like if you want to heal the relationship, if she's doing better, you have to choose to get over it. Like you
Hmm.
can be mad about it, you can forgive her or not. You have to choose. But to act like you want to go home, to act like, he's very deceptive. And that's too much for me. And then all of a sudden he's sneaking around in the middle of the night. Like, you've got to be kidding me. Open your mouth and express yourself. You have no
Hmm.
problem sometimes. I don't know. It just seems bad. I'm like,
Right,
you'll never get over this. You'll never heal and be able to just deal with your mother if you can't even talk to her. Instead, you wait till you get busted and then you scream at her like a little lunatic.
right.
I, I have I don't know. At one point I really did feel bad for the kid, but now I'm just like he's more of a brat to me than
Hmm.
anything. I don't know. I got no I got
Well,
nothing.
and
And then he runs off. So he saves her from the bear. He
hmm
saves her. I'm gonna help my mom, and then I'm gonna run off. I'm like, what? And that's the whole thing. Either I missed something because I sure enough did not rewind. So after the bear incident, the next thing we know, like Maggie's running in the street. I'm like, well, what the hell happened? I'm like, oh, Herschel ran off. Like we didn't even like see him run off or
well, she saw him up there in the gallery. You know, he
yeah.
threw the knives, and then we didn't. And then when she looked again, he was gone. I assumed at that point he was leaving because
Oh,
he said,
brat.
I'm leaving. And
Yeah.
the way he's talking, I don't think he ever planned on going back to the breaks with her. As soon as he was on that island, he had no intention of ever going back.
Well, good riddance. But that's not gonna be the case. She'll try to make it right with him and hopefully bring him back. He is a kid still.
Right.
He's not an adult, so I guess he can just stay hidden. That's the only way. But seems like she's gonna find him now that Negan kind of ratted out where he could go.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk a little more about this bear scene. I thought it was pretty good. So the scene where they open the door and they look
Uh huh.
and you could see this thing. At first, my first instinct was like, "Oh my god, is that a gorilla?" Because I'm like, a gorilla could yank someone and beat them like that,
Yeah.
like they. But then when it got closer, I'm like, "Oh, it's a bear." But at first, like my first instinct was like, "Is that a big ass gorilla?"
Initially that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
And and I think too when if you looked at the bear, I don't think that the bear had its full vision. It looked like at least one of his eyes was scarred over.
Oh yeah, it was.
And I think that's why it wasn't just rushing at her
Mhm.
because he really couldn't see her.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is a bear that has seen some stuff.
Look, this a wild bear. So the bear used to be in the zoo and now he's wild.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's scary stuff. Like, oh my god. So I did think that was exciting. I'm like, oh, that's something different,
yeah.
Yeah,
He
just
made pretty
something
short
different.
work of those walkers too, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he slice and dice some things.
You can tell he's had some experience dealing with the walkers.
Yeah, he's probably been out there, protecting himself or
Yeah,
whatever. So,
trying to. I mean, he that was a massively scarred up bear.
mhm.
So he didn't have a lot of fur, and yeah, life has been a struggle.
Mhm.
Struggle was real.
Honestly, she was very lucky because even with Herschel throwing the little knives, if she hadn't like chosen to kind of lay down or be right up against that railing, she was trying to be strategic about it
Yeah.
and it worked out. It worked out. The thing was like leaning to fall on her and fell on the edge of the, gate or
Uh-huh.
whatever and killed himself basically. But I don't know, that was very lucky.
Hmm. And like I said, if the bear had been able to see, it probably wouldn't have done it. It's just was probably going more by smell than anything else.
Probably. Poor bear. I don't
Yep,
know. It's just a bear doing bear things.
yep. Although then we get the next morning and everyone's like, "Yeah, she left us a present." Not really. I mean, she left it. Don't get me wrong, but she didn't let the bear in. You know,
Mm-hmm.
bear just came in.
Yeah, and why? Okay, so why? Okay, I understand Pearlie has his own opinion. Like they're gone. They just
Yeah,
busted up. They're out of here. But then to tell poor Jenny, oh, they left you. Come on, did they really? Did he really think he'd been dealing with Maggie for a while? Did he really think that she would just leave Jenny and just leave her? I just think that was so short sighted to say that to her.
yeah. Well, and Jenny and Maggie had that conversation in the bathroom, and
Yeah,
and Maggie was even trying, even at this point, to extend the olive branch to say, "I hope you come back with us.
yeah.
You know, you're still welcome at the Bricks. You know, I'll still continue to be your guardian."
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think she was really feeling that. Don't get me wrong,
She
but
wasn't. But I
but
feel like she has a she has not even a better excuse, I guess, but she's younger than Herschel. So, I feel like I almost just know like she's 12 and she's acting like a 12-year-old.
mhm,
So, I don't know. She's a little bratty too, but she's younger. So she kind of gets a half pass, I guess.
yeah. Although I was kind of wondering because during that conversation, Maggie did look really hard at her pack,
Mhm.
and I'm wondering if that gun that she was holding on Negan even had bullets in it.
I'm not sure. I'm going to say at least one. Maybe she thought it did. She really wants to kill him.
Yeah, well, I get that, but the way Maggie was looking at that pack, I'm wondering if she didn't take the bullets.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I
Because
don't
she
know,
was
maybe.
behind me. I mean, she knew Herschel had left.
Yeah,
We don't know what she did between the time the bear died and she was on the streets killing walkers.
right.
So it and she didn't have her pack with her when she went after Herschel.
Mhm.
So she would have had to have gone back because she had it with her.
Right.
So I'm wondering if at the time she emptied the bullets from the gun.
She might have. I don't know. But I know Jenny thought there were bullets in there. And
Yeah,
she did hesitate though
yeah,
when she saw Negan. She kind of paused and then proceeded to faint.
yeah. And I mean, it's not. I mean, she's delirious. She's not doing so well. So
Mhm.
she probably didn't even look.
No, probably not. She probably just assumed it was how it was supposed to be.
Right,
Hmm. Well, of course they weren't going to let the little girl just kill Negan like that. He's
right.
the main character. I think they have a little like bulletproof insulation for being killed. Both
Yeah.
he and Maggie both.
Hmm. I mean, it doesn't mean they can't get torn up. It doesn't mean they can't have a bad time of things. But
Yeah. Yeah, but will they actually die? Doubt it.
right.
Unless it's the end. Maybe in the end they'll let one of them die and hopefully it's Negan. That would be fair,
Yeah.
you know.
And I don't know that. I mean, because Negan, he didn't say a word to. I mean, he didn't say hi, didn't say don't, didn't say nothing. He just stood there, took a couple steps towards her,
Mhm.
and then she fainted. And you know, as soon as she fainted into
Look,
his arms, he gave her that little kiss on the forehead.
yeah,
You know.
he's a smart guy. I think he kind of knows this chick is mad, this little girl is upset.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can probably say. So I'm not going to try. She'll just shoot me, you
Right.
know.
And he can't even say she doesn't have a good reason to be mad at him.
Exactly. Sometimes it's better to say nothing.
Yeah. I mean, not that her dad was all that great.
Yeah, exactly. But she
And I
doesn't
don't
know all that.
right, and I don't think Negan at this point would say why he
Mm,
killed her dad.
mhm.
We know it's it was to save his wife.
Mhm.
So, and maybe it might make a difference to her or not, but I don't think he wants to take that from. I don't think she wants to take her memories of her good memories of him away from her.
Well, if Annie is still around and eventually she meets Jenny,
Hmm.
maybe it might come out like
Right?
naturally in another way.
Yeah.
And then maybe she might not be happy about it, but she'll probably be like shocked that she didn't even know her parent either. So I don't know. It's hard to say that the character doesn't speak. So
Fair. And then we have Pearlie in
yes.
conference. Yeah.
Okay. I was like, "Oh my god, one more time. Look, we got RIP to the wig for the second time. RIP wig."
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
But
he was blackmailed because she went off talking while she was turning.
yeah, look at her go.
Yeah. Isn't that
And we don't
crazy?
know exactly what all she said. Um, we don't know how much information she gave about like um New Babylon or anything.
No, we don't know that, but we know that she gave just enough information for Bruegel to blackmail him.
Yeah.
So for him to feel like he has enough on him that he could blackmail him. So
Hmm.
Navaris, I don't know if she had it enough energy left to just tell everything about everything, but she told the most important part, which is she really dislikes him
Hmm.
for like lying about killing Negan. So she
Right.
really had an axe to grind about him specifically. So I don't know, maybe not more than that though, just enough to blackmail him.
Right. We're going to have an alliance and it's going to be lovely. You know, but Maggie did
Yeah.
have a good point. You know, if Bruegel was willing to turn on the Dama and the deal that they and Negan and the deal that they had made,
Mhm.
then there was no reason to believe that he would not do the same, you know, to
To
Pearlie
them.
and New Babylon.
Right. He totally will. He's gonna honestly, if he is able to get himself to New Babylon in a position of power or coming back as an equal or I don't know, having any kind of interaction with that group that is still not, unattainable to him, he'll try to come in and take them over, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's really too bad that the Croat beat to death the other guy because I think him and Negan could have really worked out a good deal together.
Maybe.
You know, well, with Negan giving him sympathy from a position of power,
Mhm.
you know, would go a long way to make a stronger bond.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this Bruegel guy, I don't know exactly. Do you think he'll make it out of this season, or you think he'll be killed in the next 2 episodes?
I think he'll be killed in the next two episodes. I will
Mhm.
also say, do you know who he kind of reminds me of?
Who?
An evil P.T. Barnum.
Hmm. Kind of. Yeah, I could see it.
The showmanship, the grandiose way of speaking, the you know, the
Mhm.
loving his own voice.
Mhm. He
I
does
I,
love to talk.
I do too. I mean, we have that in common. But I'm also not trying to take over the world, so you know. But yeah, he in that the picture of Washington crossing the Delaware is just oh my God, let it go, man.
Mhm.
Which Maggie kind of told him, just let it go, you know,
Mhm.
because I think I mean she can see the the bullshit artist in him.
Yeah. I mean, she's come across a lot of these wannabe like faction leaders
Yeah,
and people who just talk so much shit for lack of a better word. She's
yeah.
able to clock him pretty easily.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know why Pearlie couldn't.
I in some ways Pearlie is a little more naive.
Uh-huh.
He I mean he's been fairly. It's not that he's had an easy life, but it seems like he's been a little more. He's been with this group with New Babylon and from what we've seen of his history, he hasn't gone far, he hasn't strayed far. And I don't think he, you know, I think he's also kind of accepted power as his power does.
And I mean, we should also not forget that really he is a kind of character that colors in the lines always. He always sees things as black and white until
Right.
last season, right? Last season, the first season of this show, he decides to not kill Negan.
Yeah.
So until then, he seems like he's really a rule follower and doesn't deviate. So this is kind of new for him,
Hmm.
doing something else. So maybe he just assumes that everyone else is doing the right thing because he wants to do the right thing. I don't know.
I don't think he assumes everyone else is doing the right thing because he's obviously not that naive. But
Well,
he's
he thinks that he wants to believe who they say they are.
right. But he's also been under a very strong Armish dictatorship.
Mhm.
He's watched New Babylon take over group after group, and either by you know by the carrot or the stick. They didn't care how they did it, as long as it was done. And Bruegel is pretty much the same way.
Uh-huh.
Carrot or stick, man, take your pick. But either way, it's
Mhm.
gonna happen. And so, I mean, Pearlie's more or less just because of how everything is in New Babylon has been kind of conditioned to just go, okay, you're in charge.
Mhm.
He did try to kind of stay. I mean, and it wasn't a forceful stand upping against, No, I think I'm going to politely decline. Um, very politely, but yeah, it wasn't him making a firm negative. It
Probably
wasn't
better
him.
watch it. He might not make it out this season alive.
Yeah, and I don't know that I'm not laying good odds on him either.
Yeah. He's so ugh, like he's just so stupid in some ways.
Yeah.
I want to root for his character, but he's making it hard.
Well, it's the rules are there for a reason,
Mhm.
but sometimes the reason is wrong,
Right.
and sometimes you have to color outside of the lines to make things work.
Mhm.
And he doesn't like disorder. He doesn't like not following the rules. He likes having a set thing, because if he was really against New Babylon, if he had really had an eye-opening experience, when he let Negan go, um and realized the error of his ways, he would have figured out a way to leave New Babylon, not just the city, but the whole area.
So to me, Pearlie is just through and through a beta male. He is not an alpha in any way, shape, or
No,
form. And so he just takes the path of least resistance that seems the best.
yeah, and it's not like,
Yeah.
and Bruegel is not all that different from any of the other people we saw in a position of leadership in New Babylon.
Right.
You know, you take the other uh, command staff that we had initially, and if you had thrown Bruegel in there, he wouldn't have stood out in any way.
Mhm.
He would have fit right in.
Right.
So, I mean, the fact that Pearlie was aware of their faults and aware of the bad that they are doing and still chose to follow, and he was trying to give some small resistance here or there, but he's not a rebel leader. He's not a resistance kind of person.
Mhm.
And he wants the rules, he wants the stability, he wants the order.
Yeah, definitely. Hmm. Okay, what else? Is there anything else that I think we got everything.
Yeah.
So, Pearlie, freaking Herschel, Jenny, the Croat, Negan, let's see, Annie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Did you realize that well, you probably did because you watched the after thing. So how do you think that Lauren Cohen did as a director?
I think she did pretty good.
Mhm.
I didn't have any complaints with the episode. It was definitely better than last week's.
Mhm.
I thought it
Yeah.
I thought it had a nice pacing to it.
Mhm. So, okay, so I think her directoring, I don't know, her directing, there we go. I think that was fine.
Uh-huh.
There was nothing technical that I could say, "Oh my god, that is awful,"
Mhm.
so it was fine. But I think the writing was still a little bit off to me, but that's not her fault. That's the
No,
writers. That's the writing room.
right.
And she's, got to deal with what she gets. So,
Right. Writers write, directors direct.
yeah. And the pacing, I think the pacing was okay, although I did find myself rewinding a little bit in the beginning, just a little bit because I just would wander off. So I don't know. I think it is better than last episode, but it's still not great.
I thought it was it's not it wasn't the best episode we've seen from the show.
Mhm.
But I thought it was a definite improvement from last week's.
Mhm. Yeah, and I guess Negan has some character development this episode. I
Hmm.
guess they're trying to go to make him more complicated than he already is. They're trying.
You know,
Um,
his redemption arc is more like a pretzel, but you know,
yeah, exactly. The bear was fun, but it was also ridiculous.
it
But
was. But you
yeah.
know, again,
Mhm.
it was entertaining to watch, and it
Yeah,
was something new.
true. Yeah,
And
something new.
you know, watching her try to unleash the walkers on the bear to slow it down, and I'm like, man, that really didn't slow it down very much, did it? That was a big bear.
Not even a little bit. The bear's like knocking them things away like dolls.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, and then the kids, Herschel
Mhm.
and Jenny, who are also so aggravating, both of them. So, that's all I got. I don't have anything else.
Yeah. So, you didn't watch the previews for next week then?
I never really do. I
Okay.
kinda just if I happen to see it later, I'll watch it, but I don't on purpose watch it because I
Oh,
kinda
okay.
wanna be surprised. So what was in the preview?
So, when when I was saying that he really shouldn't have just let the Croat loose because nothing good's going to come of it.
Mhm.
Nothing good's going to come of it because he has Herschel.
Oh, of course he does.
Hmm.
So he must go to the same place that Herschel goes to looking for the
Yep.
Dama, and that's
Well,
where they cross paths.
yeah, he probably went back to Dama's, you know, primary resident because he's feeling lost, and Herschel went there because he was trying to find the Dama, not knowing that she had generally relocated to the church,
I wonder how Herschel is gonna act when he finds out the woman is dead.
and that you know the Croat had killed her. You know,
Will he feel any kind of way, or will he be like, "Well, I don't know. I'll keep her alive through
yeah.
the the city," or I don't know.
Well, and I think part of it is with Herschel, it's the Dama is part of it, but he said this a couple different times in a couple different ways, which is he really does seem to love that city for whatever reason. He doesn't care for the bricks. He doesn't want to go back under the rule of the New Babylon.
Mhm.
Um, he doesn't like what's going on there for the most part, and honestly, I mean, on that, I don't blame the kid for that one because living under the New Babylon cannot be fun.
Right.
And I'm supposed from his point of view, it was better to be the pet of the leader than you know the cannon fodder.
Well, I think that is what he's thinking, but he's about to have to get a different understanding because
Yeah,
honestly, he's got nowhere to go. He hates Negan,
yeah,
right? So now that Negan's in charge, he's not going to want to be with that group.
right.
He doesn't like Bruegel, obviously.
Obviously,
He doesn't want to go home. There's no place else but to go home with your mother. Quit playing around. What
right.
can you do at this point?
I mean, if they hadn't have killed all the quiet people,
Mhm.
he probably I could see him staying with them.
Yeah.
He kind of fit in there. I mean, honestly, of all the places that they have been with him,
Mhm.
that was the one place he seemed most at ease.
Mhm.
But they are no more.
They are no more. So that's one more option taken away.
Yeah,
He's just gonna have to go home, and that's that. He's gonna have to, grow up a little bit, try to forgive his mother, or just deal with her and go
yeah.
home. What else is he gonna do?
Well, and I mean, and here again, Maggie does have the option of not going back to the bricks, to not going back to New Babylon at all. You know,
Yeah.
there's really no reason for her to stay there. Not
Mm,
really. I mean, she's not a
yeah.
leader there. She's one of many voices.
So you think she'll stay in New York City?
No, I'm not saying to stay. I'm just saying she doesn't have to go back to New Babylon. She has other options.
Uh-huh.
If she really wanted to, if he's adamant about not wanting to go back under the thumb of New Babylon, and honestly, I wouldn't want to either.
So do you
Uh,
think that she could find another group that's just not on Manhattan, that's not on the island?
maybe, yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
I mean, at this point, she's not that far from, uh, oh, what do you call them? Uh, the people that had Rick.
Oh, yeah. Well, she's not gonna go to the CRM, that's for sure.
Well, depending on where they are in the timeline,
Mhm.
the CRM may not be the CRM
Yeah.
anymore. So,
True, but and that's the whole thing. I don't even know where we are in the timeline anymore, to be honest. I'm just, like, along for the ride. I'm not sure where we are and how
right.
these shows align right now.
But
I'm sure someone's figured it out, but I don't know.
yeah, but yeah, it does kind of surprise me that the CRM, if they were parallel with each other, that they wouldn't have come for the methane.
Well, there we go, trying to make shows connect in the writing work
Right.
for the
I
world. Look at us trying to make the world make sense.
well, because they were in what, Philadelphia, right?
Yeah.
And Philadelphia is not that far from New York.
No, and they had those helicopters, so they were
Hmm.
able to go far distances in those. I don't know.
I mean, they were down in Louisiana.
Yeah.
They were in Texas. So, I mean, they had a place in Seattle, Washington, and Omaha. So there's really no reason why they couldn't have just skipped over to New York. Um, so yeah, but then again, like I said, we don't know where they are in the timeline.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But at any point, they could have been there during the time. So I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Whatever, I guess. Ugh. All right. So let's see. Any other topics you want to cover before we call it a day?
No, I'm interested to see who dies at the because I'm pretty sure we're going to have at least one more death.
I think it's going to be, if I had to guess, so obviously Mackie and Negan are bulletproof. It's not them. I think it, Pearlie has a good shot at being
Mhm.
taken off the table.
And the Croat,
The Croat does, and of course, the latest villain,
brutal.
Bruegel, has a
Hmm.
shot. And of course, unfortunately, I don't want to think about it, but Annie could die as well
Yeah, she could.
if she sticks around like I think she does.
I mean,
Um,
technically, Herschel could die.
Herschel could die, but then we'd have another season of Maggie acting like a zombie because she would lose her mind.
Oh, she would. I don't know that she'd be a zombie.
Well,
I
she
think that she would be death incarnate.
see, I don't know who would she get revenge on.
I don't know.
I mean, because honestly, it could be a bite that takes him out, and then it's no
Right,
one's fault. So the Dama's dead already. So
right,
I don't know who she would get revenge on.
right.
Um, I don't know. I mean, even Jenny could die. She might need to.
Yeah.
It could be her.
I mean, she's already injured.
Mhm.
So, and it's obviously a she's been grazed by a bullet. I mean, it hasn't. She wasn't struck. It didn't go in, but it did leave a pretty good mark.
So
So,
basically, anybody is fair game except for Maggie and Negan.
yeah, but
You're right. They're gonna take one more,
yeah,
at least, maybe two, maybe one from the bad side and one from the people that we're supposed to like.
right. So
Hmm.
my three top contenders are Bruegel,
Mm-hmm.
Hurley, and the Croat.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Hmm. Now I want to know if Negan will not be in charge of that group or if he's going to go into the next season as a leader of that group still. I'm curious about that.
I'm thinking he's going to go into next season the leader of that group.
Mm, eek. He's going to
Yeah,
turn bad again. I know it.
eek.
Yeah.
Now, as an interesting thought, just
Yeah.
throwing this one out there, if
Uh-huh.
Negan does take control and he's firmly in control of New York, um, I could see him sending Maggie back with the methane for her set up and to put a power play to for between the bricks and New Babylon.
Yeah.
Yep, we got the power, and if you do anything to me, they're cutting it off because
Mm,
this isn't being extended to New Babylon.
mhm.
The power is coming to me, and if I'm not here, it goes away.
Well, it's a power play for sure.
It is.
Hmm. I don't know, so many interesting things. It's like it's hard to even guess what direction they're going to because this just seems such a wild variation of the show. I don't know what is going on really.
It's kind of like they're throwing spaghetti on the to the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, it's kind of all
Um,
over the place.
right. Because if we followed logical conclusions, the season would not have played out as it has.
Mhm.
Um, and if I had been Maggie and found out that my son had betrayed me, I mean, and I love all my kids, don't get me wrong. Um, but I would not have. There would not have been trust.
Yeah.
um, and I mean, she's almost been reluctant to broach the subject with him. She's kind of danced around the edges of it. I didn't think she had any power over you anymore, kind of thing.
I don't know why she acting scared of her own child. I mean, just talk to him.
Yeah,
Like this is a real situation, At that point, she didn't know the woman was dead either. So,
right.
let's figure this out. What is going on?
Mm-hmm.
You're not leaving anywhere until you tell me what's going on.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe that's just I don't know what kind of parenting that is Maggie's doing. I don't know. Timid parenting, I guess.
Something.
I don't know.
Although I did kind of with Negan, he's like, I just want you to know, yeah, the Dama's no more, so you don't have to worry about her.
Mhm.
I wasn't lying about my situation. I just figured it out.
He's
She's
like,
like,
"Please do not get pissed off at me. I did not lie."
right. Well, and she's just kind of looking at him, and she's goes like, "You always do,"
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, you're always fine. So,
Yeah,
what surprise, surprise.
yeah. Look at my surprise face,
Mhm.
and she's not wrong there, but yeah. Um, and you can kind of see that again. Will Negan and Maggie ever be friends? No, they won't. Um, and I don't think they ever should be. But there is it's like the comfort of an old shoe. It's not that it's great. It gives you blisters, but it's familiar.
The most uncomfortable shoes, but you like they go with everything, so you wear them
Right.
anyway.
So I
Uh,
it's
no.
she doesn't. I mean, she doesn't want him actively dead. And I mean, and she did throw out to him, hey, just FYI here, if Bruegel's coming after you. You have a couple of days notice now. So I mean, and she
Yeah.
didn't have to.
They have a very delicate, kind of balance right now. Like, I'm
Uh-huh.
going to help you a little bit, you help me a little bit. Sometimes our goals align, you know. I don't think she thinks he's the most terrible person anymore,
Right.
obviously. Uh but you're right. They're never going to be friends and they should not be. They
Right.
just have to be very they're like two wild animals in the same space.
Right. You stick to your side and I stick to my side, and every
Yep.
once in a while we'll kind of help each other out.
Mhm.
I mean, and I don't think she would fight for Negan
Oh no.
unless there was, you know, if it was the two of them again going to find Herschel, or they had some,
A
or even
common
Jenny,
interest. But
you
still,
know,
she wouldn't be fighting for him.
right. She'd
They
be
would
fighting with him.
right. She would never be like accept direction from him.
Right.
No, 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 no.
So,
She'd die
it,
first, I'm sure.
well, and that's kind of the other interest with their relationship. If it's something that if Negan came to her and said, Jenny has been taken and you're the only person that can help me get her out, I'm pretty sure Maggie would go with him and help.
Yeah, because she now cares about Jenny,
Right.
even though she doesn't know how to deal with the little girl, but
But, just like if she came to Negan again and said, I need your help to get Herschel.
mhm.
Um, Although at this point, Negan might be thinking, God, we just need to put that kid under a rock somewhere.
Like,
Um, you know,
yeah, like, honestly, tie him down somewhere, like, what is going on?
but yeah, I mean, so they do have that where there's, again, they won't fight for each other, but they will come to the other's aid if it's something important.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's really, again, it's not friendship. It's just but it is a relationship of a weird sort.
kind of convenience, kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
It's
but
built
I
out
bet
of guilt.
they would be just fine never speaking to each other again, though,
Oh yeah.
but
I mean, this is a relationship that's built on
yeah.
guilt and shame and terror and blood
Mhm,
and all sorts of terrible bad things.
mhm.
Um, but it is weirdly a bond because it is something. I mean, they have a lot of shared mutual history, unfortunately. Um, so yeah, it's a weird relationship, and it is a relationship. It's just not a friendship.
So, I don't know if you heard this or not, but you know how there was a particular group of fans that were all about Carol and Daryl. You remember that? They were just
Yeah.
all acting ridiculous.
Uh huh.
Apparently, there is now a group of fans that are all about Maggie and Negan.
No.
Yes. It's sickening, and they even have a little shipper name for them.
What is it?
Neggy?
Oh, jeez.
Neggie.
It is.
Neggy shippers?
It's like watching the train wreck.
It's awful. I'm like, what kind of name is that? First off, they can come up with something better, something more tolerable. That sounds ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, it
And then why in this world would you want someone to get with the man who murdered her husband?
right.
Like, that does not make any damn sense to me. I cannot.
I mean, if Negan, out of the kindness of his heart, had like killed Carol's deadbeat husband to
Mhm.
save her, okay, fine.
Yeah.
You know,
That's something else entirely.
that's a different circumstance.
Yeah.
Um, but that's not. Maggie loved him. Glenn loved Glenn with all of her heart to the point where she cannot live a normal life. It could not love her son the way he needed to be loved. Um, and to to get into a relationship with Negan would be a betrayal of to her son, to her memory of her husband, to herself.
Yeah. Look, you think she doesn't get along with her son now. You just wait.
Right.
That would just be hell on earth for
Right.
everyone.
So I mean, it's again, I'm not denying that Nagy and Negan don't have a relationship, because they do. Anytime that you have an interaction with someone on a semi, regular basis, you have a relationship, friends, acquaintances, whatever. And what they have is weird, and it's dysfunctional on a epic scale,
Right.
but it is a connection, but it's not romantic,
That.
it's not you know that
Yeah, it's not
that's
that.
just wrong.
Yeah. Very wrong. And people need to stop. Just stop the madness. Like, I don't understand. If you if you want a romance so freaking bad, go turn on a different type of show. Go read a novel. I don't know. Stop trying to make everybody
Yeah,
like
go
stop.
find a rom-com.
Yeah,
This is not, just because it's a boy and a girl doesn't mean that they have to get together.
exactly. It's so ridiculous and unfortunate. It's like, come on. Come on, y'all.
Well, and there's even a lot of shows that they had intended not to put the two main characters as being anything more than friends,
Mhm.
and then they caved to the pressure, and then the shows go downhill,
Mm,
because that dynamic between, that push and pull dynamic between friends and adversaries was lost.
right.
The tension, the dynamics of the relationship has fundamentally changed, and it generally ruins the show.
Definitely. That happens a lot. Even when they plan for them to get together in the end, when they get together, it's basically the kiss of death. The
Right.
show is basically done.
Right.
No one wants to see them after they get together.
Right. And really, I just and they pick such weird people to put together, because God, I remember, well, before even Dead City, people had said something about, oh, well, maybe, when I guess they were announcing who was going to be on Dead City. Oh, well, Maggie and Negan will get together. Are you out of your mind?
Right.
What is wrong with you?
I don't know. I don't. I wish I could understand, but I also don't wish I could understand because it sounds crazy to me.
Right.
So,
We just have to have the love interest. No,
no,
you wanted the
no.
love interest. That's where you should have
Mm-mm.
watched, Rick and Michonne. Okay,
Yeah,
there
that's
you
the
go.
love interest. Go back and rewatch that season. There
Right,
you go.
go watch that.
Mhm.
Um, Not this, and not Carol and Daryl, and
All that garbage. Stop with the that's garbage. Stop with the hot mess.
right. Stop. Just stop.
So yeah, that's what we're dealing with. So, fun times, right?
Uh huh.
Okay. I think are we done this? I think we're done.
Yeah, we're
Are we
done.
done?
We're
Okay.
done.
All right. This has been a good episode. It's been fun. Thanks for listening to the entire episode. We both appreciate you for doing that. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you're listening because we'll be back again next week and you want to get the notification. And please, if you are listening on Spotify or Apple or whatever, leave us a 5-star rating. That will really help us out and that would help other TWDU fans find the podcast. So that's it. Take care of yourselves and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.